I have a certain air about me.
Thank you for all for
On the
coming.
air.
Okay, good.
We're good.
All right, welcome to the Wareham Zoning Board of Appeal. Tonight is February 28, 2024. It is 6:32 p.m. And we are at the room 320, Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass. I want to call the meeting to order. Make a roll call. My far left, Mr. Richard Sample, Mr.
Mrs.
Troy Larson,
Oh,
Mrs. Veronica Ravenese, our clerk, Jim Akabachi, myself, the chair, Nazi Atulasi. Also present, our commissioner, Mr. Paul Turner, our town planner, Mr. Ken Buckland, also assistant town planner, Ms. Sonia Raposo,
Department coordinator,
department coordinator, etc.
little Friday extraordinaire.
All right, we're gonna start with the minutes.
I have reviewed the minutes. I find them to be adequate as presented and make a motion to accept as presented.
Any corrections on them?
There were a couple, we did find a couple things, but they've been handled and they're,
She already typed them?
that's already been typewritten.
Okay, so we have a motion by Jimmy. Do you have a second?
I second.
Second by Rich. All in favor say aye. Troy?
Aye.
Veronica?
aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
And myself, Nazi, aye. Carries. Okay, Settlers Glen, 40B, request for extension, 3128B Cranberry Highway.
And this is O'Shaughnessy, right?
It is.
Okay.
I have copies of,
You have copies, is that different from this, or is that,
it should be exactly the same.
these look, oh, I guess so, then I won't bother handing these out unless we think we need them.
You guys have to share copies, I'm sorry.
You're asking us to share, if this is exactly the same, I'll look at mine.
Just the one that was online? I'm good, and if anybody needs one, I read it through.
I got one. All
I
right.
got it, we're good.
Hey, before we get going, I would just like to bring to attention, Ken Buckland is retiring, and I'd like to thank him for all his years of service here.
Maybe he changed his mind, you sure? Maybe he changed his mind?
How would I
You
do?
sure you're doing it?
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Kenny, for all your help, your assistant for the town. Okay. All right, Counselor, name and address.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, all the members of the Wareham Zoning Board of Appeals. My name's Michael O'Shaughnessy. I'm an attorney with an office in Middleborough. With me tonight is Ivo Cole. He's one of the principals of Settlers Glen LLC. This comprehensive permit was issued in May of 2021. That means it was given a 3-year term. It's set to expire this May of 2024. We do not anticipate getting building by then. We're asking for a 3-year extension to the permit.
Okay. Why 3 years? I know you guys had the issue with the water department. That delay you a bit.
There's a couple reasons for the request. Number one, we had the issues with the water department. Number two, interest rates aren't very favorable to development like this nowadays. If you look at the market prognosticators, we're hoping they go down the end of the year, but we don't know. And our third reason is one of the members of the LLC died last fall, one of the driving forces. So he was the consultant for the project. We're bringing someone else on board to push this forward, and he's going to need some time to get up to speed.
Oh, sorry to hear that. Paul? I mean, Troy?
I don't have any questions.
Monica?
I don't have any questions. That was,
Jimmy?
So I'm just, I started to ask this, but we needed to wait till we were in a public forum. Special permits are good for 2 years or 3 years?
2 years, but
So-
40B's 3.
40B becomes 3.
Yeah.
So when we granted, did we grant 3 years? Has it been 3 years already?
It's been 3 years already.
So
yes.
you want to turn it into 6?
If the board's inclined to grant us the 3 years, we'd like to turn it.
So you're asking for 3, is that like the old 40B thing, ask for 20 and settle for 10?
Mr. Chairman, through you, Mr. Chairman, if the board said 2 years, I'd take 2 years.
Yeah.
3 years is generally what we ask for on these extensions.
I'd be happy with 6 months.
Nothing at this time.
I think let's shoot for a year, it's fair, because the gentleman died. What's his name, Mr. O'Brien?
Jim O'Brien, yeah.
O'Brien, oh, yeah, he had a heart issue and stuff.
Yeah.
That's too bad,
He-
Dave. I'm sorry to hear that.
February 28th.
Wow. Life's too short, huh? All right,
Motion made by myself, Jim Eckabashet.
which one?
I'm filling this out, I'm gonna make a motion. I make a motion to,
Would you like to add anything, Counselor, before?
Unless the board has any questions, it's a pretty, this is deemed an insubstantial change under the regulations.
Right.
do you wanna do any public input or anything, or just, no, I didn't think so. I move to grant, 1 year extension,
No?
and they can come back and if they need more time, we can,
Yeah,
do
we'll
a
see
further
in a
extension.
year what happen. Hopefully things turn around.
Okay.
All right, I have a motion by Jim to extend the year for 2-21 Settlers Glen, the 40B project. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Second by Troy. All in favor, say aye. Troy?
Aye.
Veronica?
Aye.
Jimmy?
aye,
Richard?
Aye.
And myself, Nazi, aye. So that carries. Thank you.
5,
Thank you very much.
0. Okay. We've got this right here, we might as well sign it. We've got it. Usually we don't
Yeah,
get the chance to
and just-
sign, but
Well, Sonia, you have to file.
Yeah,
with
she
the
has
town
to
clerk,
stamp
so-
it, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna pass it to my right and,
All right, we're gonna, 17-22 Elite Development. I have a conflict with that matter with Mr. Smith, so why don't you do it, Jimmy?
okay,
108 High Street.
okay. And do we have something on that, or do I know what's going on? Do I just utter what I know? So at 108 High Street, they have presented, here, you can sign and let them sign. They've presented a plan that included more paving than is currently there. I did get a call from Mr. Okalazi saying, go by and look and see.
But Jerry is the LLC, but...
Yeah, okay. But in my observation, additional paving would be more detrimental than not paving. I went in there, I looked. There's a paved driveway going down the side of the primary structure. There's pavement going behind it and in front of the 2 secondary units. And then they want to pave over into what's now a grassy area. It's not going to really add any additional parking. It's not going to add the ability to turn around. The vehicular access in and out is going to remain the same. The only difference is there's going to be more pavement and less impervious area. So in my observation, I don't think we have a problem giving them a minor modification and letting them be satisfied with what's there for pavement now. If the rest of the board feels as though they want to go by and look themselves, we can put this off, or we can,
I myself
I'd
went by already. I
You went
took
by?
a walk by, yep.
do you see the same thing I see?
I walked through, saw plenty of pavement. If they put any more down, you're not gonna have any impervious.
That's,
So-
again,
And
I
it
see more
seemed
pavement.
seemed like there was enough parking for what was going on. I don't know.
Okay.
Pretty much cut and dry to me. I think it's fine.
Any questions?
Oh, Brian, are you here for this?
Yes.
Do you have anything to say? I'd like to hear what you had to say about what's the reason, how did this come up,
Well, we have submitted plans. I don't know if you've seen them. They're the 2 one-bedroom units to the rear of the property. We had proposed additional paving, parking to the left of that. The current units have been occupied for nearly a year. I don't know if you were all here when the project was originally proposed, or if you remember what that home looked like. I think the project turned out quite nicely myself. But those 2 one-bedroom units to the rear have been occupied for nearly a year now, so with that experience, Jerry Smith, Nazi, do not believe that that additional parking area is necessary. Everyone's been able to maneuver and park, having no issues. So what happened in the front, though, initially there was just a driveway going to the garage for the single-family home in the front. they constructed that as a circular drive. So that provides some additional flexibility and additional parking for the site, kind of offsetting the pavement that was proposed in the rear. So given the history, the experience, the occupancy that's gone on, it's just felt that it's not necessary.
Okay, thank you.
Troy, any questions? Nope. Anything from the inspector's department? Anybody here that has anything to say about this, that wants to either speak now or forever hold it? Inside, turn it into an Alsa? Nope, okay, I think we're good. I need a motion to, I don't know if this is an open, it's a minor modification, just a motion to grant the requested relief. So moved? So moved by Troy Larson to grant requested relief regarding the parking on the supplied plan. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Veronica. All in favor, Troy? Aye. Veronica?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Richard?
Aye.
And it's 4-0-0.
Thank you very much.
Ken, it's official, you're on the paper.
Is that an old paper or is that the new paper?
This is a new one.
Well, we're
Oh,
gonna get,
color photo this time.
yeah, we'll get it signed
Last
by
time it was
before he
black and
leaves.
white, you
Yeah,
know?
we should.
It's like, it's like you got picked up by a tornado and blown into Oz. You're in color now.
I see, that's good. Okay, 56-21, Doobie, LLC, DB Delivery Mass, LLC, DBA Doobie. Minor modification
Are they here?
for Recovery Road. Wanna come forward, ma'am? Okay, your name and address for the record?
Absolutely. Good evening. My name is Erica Kennedy, and my address is 14 Bittersweet Lane, East Wareham.
Okay, very well. I did went through this, ask a few question. Ken, if you don't mind, you had answered twice on that. One of them, you said she had to go before selectmen, then come back to us. Then you said she has to come to us, then get a selectman.
Yeah, the selectmen decided that they'd like to have you do the first permit for review, and then they deal with the HCA.
All right. So you guys, you remember that? It's basically like a
The delivery, right?
like a Uber,
Yeah.
Uber part, something like what you call it. All right. Any questions on that? Troy, you, Jimmy?
I'm good.
Okay, you want to add anything, ma'am, before we close?
No.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you'll see a memo on your desk. Everyone received one?
When did you send it?
I hand-delivered it tonight. The applicant applied for a change of use this morning.
Oh, okay, right here. Okay, I didn't read that, so. The number of marijuana delivery zones should be to three separate zones. Okay, so you send,
Oh, you have one right here.
it's 3 deliveries, 3 permits for deliveries. Can you explain it, because
Yeah,
we're
sure.
not gonna go through
Yeah,
it right
okay.
now.
So in the bylaws, the town has limited the number of delivery establishments to a total of 3 separate establishments within the town of Wareham. So the applicant's going to have 2 delivery services from the same establishment. They are working under the same entity name, but there's 2 separate.
So you're saying they're gonna take, there's only 1 left?
No. If you read the note 1, the number of marijuana delivery establishments shall be limited to a total of 3 separate establishments.
Ah,
So
you
someone
don't-
wrote this bylaw that there was going to be a maximum of 3
right,
delivery.
I got it.
So potentially, you could have 2 other companies open and do the same thing.
Now you're at 6.
You're at 6.
Yeah.
You could argue, too, that it's an accessory use. They are operating under the same entity, but I wanted to bring it to the board's attention.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would say you should consider this as an extension of the existing delivery service. That our zoning bylaw doesn't distinguish between the different delivery services that the Cannabis Control Commission does. So the state regulations have these as different types of licenses, but our zoning bylaw doesn't distinguish. All it says is, and I wrote this, all it says is delivery. And so this is an extension of the existing delivery service, and I think that it is not a separate one, and that it is, would be considered as a delivery service under our zoning as the same delivery service they have now.
Yeah, I read your email today. Rich, what do you think?
I'm good with this.
You good with that? Troy?
I'm good.
Troy? Veronica?
I look at it the same way as Ken. I agree. It's still a same delivery,
Okay.
delivery service.
Jimmy?
I'm fine. I can't fathom how restricting the number serves the public good anyhow. So, it's like saying you can only have one gas station in town and they can charge whatever they want. But if you've got 3 gas stations, they gotta be competitive, so, I have no problem with this.
Okay. That being said, would you like to add anything?
No, I'm okay. I thank you for your time and taking, a second to research the different license types. I truly appreciate the board's efforts. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, that being said, what's the wishes?
Let's grant them the relief requested.
Okay, so relief it's a minor modification and a relief on the request, and that's motion by Jim. Do I have a second on that?
Yeah,
Second by Troy. All in favor, say aye. Troy? Aye. Veronica?
aye.
Rich?
Aye.
Sorry, Jim.
That's all right.
Jimmy?
Aye.
And myself, Nazir, aye. Carries
500.
500. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for your time. Have a good night.
Good luck.
Also,
Continue public hearing, 21-23. Angela McCohen, reconsideration of application 386 Main Street. Hello, Councilor.
I'm not passing anything out because it's old business.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you want me to play some music if you're gonna keep changing
This is my
chairs?
seat.
Music.
All right. Attorney Jillian Morton, 184 Main Street. So this case is up before you. It was before you, I think, about a month ago. This is 386 Main Street. So we're looking for a reconsideration of the vote that had 2 abstainers, but we had 3 in support. We've gone over the plan, what it is, so I don't necessarily want to focus on all that, but just get to the point that the reconsideration that we're looking for and the reasoning for it was because the determination, we believe, was based upon possible title issues or easement issues that wasn't necessarily zoning. Last time we were here, there was a discussion regarding the issues with the main building, which I know is not this petition right here, the reconsideration, but is absolutely something that you guys should be informed about and know what the progress has been. So as of today, it's my understanding that the cease and desist has been lifted. You can confirm that with, I haven't had a chance to talk to Mr. Turner about that. That all the items provided as far as the plans, updates, it is a 4-family, is not a 5-family. So they've worked with the building department, has done a great job to try to get this all on before today's date, so we really appreciate it. So if you want to talk to Mr. Turner about that, that was the big concern last time, is that there was maybe thought that we're trying to put a 5-family there, so it's 4 units in that main building right there, and the petition that that we're reconsidering is the same as we had before with the duplexes.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
I guess the question is here, as the other gentleman, the attorney for the neighbors, the question arose that we have that 2-year, after a denial, you have to wait a 2-year period unless we have a real substantial change or a different owner. This is what the question is. So I don't know how the board feels about it. I'm gonna start by Richard or Troy, either one. Whoever like to start, what do you think?
I don't have anything to think.
Right now,
Good.
okay. Troy?
Nope, I'm good.
Veronica?
I have a question about, so the change has to do with the road. So the reason I think the last time that, Rick, you abstained and Naz, you abstained, was because of the road. So has anything changed in terms of where you stand with the road? Right? Is that a substantial change that has changed that whole idea? Because that's what actually didn't pass the
Right.
project.
Yeah, but you need,
That would
as
be,
the law states, as I understand it, you need substantial changes on the project. I don't think, based what we denied me and Rich, matter to reconsider and not reconsider or not. It has nothing to do with the reconsideration. So either we have to follow the rules or not to, or whatever you feel is legal or not legal. So I'm sure the opponents here, we're gonna hear from the lawyer,
so,
the neighbors.
Yeah, through the chair, if I can respond to that.
Yeah.
You know, as far as that being the law and being the case, I don't know if that's been provided to you enough information. Is this just something that he said? As far as the vote and what happened, I absolutely think this is the change I brought to you is that we purchasing the 1/3 interest. So their big concern was who owns this 1/3 in the T and how is that going to operate? So we've entered into contract and should be closing on that once the probate is closed. So as far as the reason why you wouldn't reconsider it, thinking that it's not the same entity or something like that, it's my understanding that if the votes were specifically the abstaining or the denials were on something and there's a change in that, then you do have the authority to be able to reconsider it and approve it.
I don't know. I'm not sure that's the case. I'm not an attorney, but I think the case and the project itself to have substantial use, because you already have legal access from Main Street. So that's our opinion, Rich and I. It's irrelevant to reopen it or not. That has no bearing on the law of about the 2-year period. Our opinion don't have any bearing on that. So even if you own the whole road outright, there's no substantial change in the project now. The project itself has to be substantially.
Yeah, so the actual case law, and I know the opponent has the same book that I read, Mr. Borowski, the attorney, is that the specific, the special permit or special permit granting authority must weigh the reapplication and find that the specific and material changes have occurred in the conditions on which the unfavorable decision was based. The unfavorable decision was based upon your issues with the title and what was going on with the road. It's changed.
So do we need to hear from the attorney and hear some more information before we
And
talk anymore?
Absolutely. Now, Mr. Bobrowski wrote the book. Is it the law or just a book? Is it a law in effect with the state?
This is
it
case
CMR?
law. This is case law and
But
reconsideration.
who versus who? What case?
Yeah,
what's
okay,
it?
the site, you want the site
Yeah.
178, that's Tremblay versus Board of Appeals of Tewksbury.
Tewksbury?
Yep,
Who is it?
I'm-
Who is it versus?
Tremblay,
Tremley, Trmely?
yep.
All right. Can we call the attorney?
I just want to say one
Yeah,
more
go
thing
ahead,
before
sure.
that, if I can. I think you had said, whether we reconsider it or we approve it or not, it has no bearings. The idea that, obviously, the applicant spent a lot of time in this and engineered it, re-engineered it, tried to apply. As far as either way you go, someone's going to be unhappy, right?
I
So
totally
which pushes to litigation no matter
Right,
what.
right.
So we're looking at what's best for the town and this site. You've said it yourself many a times that my client still could decide to put 14 units or whatever there.
Right.
And I think that the town deserves a project that's going to be as far as aesthetically pleasing as much and for that area. And I, as a resident myself, I don't believe that necessarily a giant unit like that would behoove Main Street. So I just would like you to consider that.
I totally agree. They spend money. I'm a businessman. I understand. You're absolutely right. But we just want to know the law about it, so we don't jump into bad decisions.
You
Let's
want-
hear it from the.
Your position is you want to know, is it a legitimate and if we do reconsider, should it be re-advertised, and should everybody affected have the opportunity to come in and
Well, if we reconsider, yeah, then she goes out and reapply.
it has to be re-advertised
Right.
and,
If I may, through a point of
Yes.
order, that's already been done. So when I asked to reconsider it, everyone got, I have green cards right here, it's been publicized and everything.
the reconsideration's
Yes.
been tonight?
Yes, it was important that
What,
we're not trying to put the bull over
No,
anyone's
no,
eyes.
no, that's why I'm
So
asking.
We did do that, yeah.
Well, I'm sure you do.
So anybody that would have anything to say has been notified and has the opportunity to be here tonight.
Yep,
So,
we were here last time.
so,
Why don't we,
we can open this to the public, do you want to hear the opposition?
yeah,
Okay.
why don't we hear the attorney from the neighbors and then? Yeah, he's on Zoom? Okay. Attorney? What's the name? Counselor?
Is the counselor on Zoom waving his hand or anything at our moderator, or at our host, I should say? You got him, John? Okay. Here he comes. His hand is up. Now has he unmuted himself is the next question.
No one raise it up?
Can everybody hear me?
Can't hear anything.
Good now.
Okay, go ahead
Hello,
again.
can everyone hear me?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening. My name is Jonathan Silverstein. I'm a partner in the law firm of Blattman, Bobrowski, Haverty, and Silverstein. My law partner, Mark Bobrowski, was just quoted with respect to the issue of repetitive petitions under Chapter 48, Section 16. I've been a municipal attorney for nearly 30 years, practicing in land use. And I can tell you definitively that this board does not have the authority to grant this reconsideration under the current circumstances. First of all, the decision denying the special permit and variance did not state any reasons specifically for the denial, including specifically with respect to the private way. A lot of issues were discussed during the original hearing. The decision was filed and stamped in by the town clerk in November of last year. And the statute, this is a statute, it's not simply my partner's statement in the book. The statute clearly says that absent significant changes in circumstances and approval of all but one member of the planning board after notice and opportunity to be heard, which has not happened, a petition cannot be approved within 2 years of a disapproval, and that's exactly what's being proposed here. So from simply from the standpoint of process, I would submit to the board that it cannot allow this reconsideration as currently proposed. I also think it's important to look at the substance of the petition. The applicant has argued that a variance is warranted because of hardship created by the unusual topography of the site. The topography of the site is not unusual. Every single property on this side of the of Main Street is raised up and is behind the same stone wall. So it is not a topographical consideration that doesn't affect other properties in the area. And even if it did, the applicant has not even attempted to make the causal connection between that topographical factor and why a use variance is necessary. That may go to why they argue that access should be from the private way rather than from Main Street, but that's not the variance that's being sought. The variance being sought is to allow multiple primary multifamily residential structures on the lot. that's a use variance, has nothing to do with any topographical considerations on the site. And finally, there's no hardship. It's not a hardship to only be able to have 4 residential units in a pre-existing structure. No basis has been given for why it's a financial hardship to have to live within the 4 corners of the zoning bylaw. So, and I also want to note that even though I think that clearly the arguments about purchasing a 1/3 interest in the private way is not a change in circumstances that would justify a repetitive petition, there also hasn't been any evidence submitted to the board that that interest has been acquired. And even if it is acquired at some point, it would still be overburdening whatever rights may exist via that 1/3 interest in the private way to more than double the number of residential units traveling along that private way, and to do all the work necessary to upgrade the road as proposed. So for all of those reasons, on behalf of my clients, I would respectfully request that the board not allow this reconsideration. I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
All right, thank you for your input, Counselor, but, I mean, most of your answer was about the variance special permit. We really wanted to know about to reopen the permit.
If I may, through
Yeah.
the chair, I don't want to have to go through and respond. We've gone through
Right.
the substance of this variance. This is another
We're not
attorney.
gonna discuss it.
What
We
I'd
wanna
like
see if we could
think
open it or
For the
not.
town, and what probably is best as protection, is this needs to go through Attorney Bowen. I think this is a case at this point that not make a decision yourself. I think you need a legal opinion on it. I haven't spoken to him at all about it, but I think that it's something in order to advise the board to make a correct decision in regards to their rights to be able to reopen it.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
What do you think, Troy?
I agree.
Veronica?
I agree.
Jimmy?
I think that's a prudent move, and if that's the case, then we need to we need the motion for this board to submit to the selectmen to ask permission to ask the town council for his opinion, because that's the process. So we need to make that just so we all remember.
We'll do it at the end on other
Yep.
business and discussion. We'll make a motion to ask the...
Yep, that's my point on.
So I guess this is where we stuck, whether we could reconsider or not. I mean, we could all have different opinion, but it doesn't mean it's the right one.
Be happy to extend for a month to allow time for Attorney Bowen to give your response and you guys digest it. I don't know if he'll get it to you in 2 weeks, so. Would you like that?
Let me see Richard if he wants to add something. Rich?
Oh, no, I fully agree.
I think that's the way to go. Anyone else want to add something? Counselor, you want to add something before we ask our town council?
No, I think that's a wonderful idea. I was partners with Rich for many years. I think it makes sense for you to seek his input.
Yeah, we just don't want to make the wrong decision. I guess everybody has different ideas, so.
I've a general question on this. So, as the location, as 386 stands right now, if I understand correctly, there's been a denial for them to add additional buildings, but there's a by right permit for them to renovate the 4-family, and that could be completed and occupied regardless of any decisions made.
Correct.
Okay. So, okay, that answers my question. I'm ready to make a motion that we continue this matter until we have had the opportunity and the benefit of an opinion from town council
Okay.
via the appropriate process.
When's the deadline, decision deadline here? Sonia, do you know?
All I got is special permit and variance with no date.
21, 23,
Why don't you give us council an extension? Give us a couple of months.
Yep.
it's not even on, oh, there it is, right here.
And
February 28th. What's February 28th date here mean?
Today.
Special permit.
It's today, so we did it.
January 10th, yeah, today's the day. Application reconsider for,
Oh, yeah, there we go.
let's get can we get an extension until March 28th? Please, a month?
Yeah, yep.
All right, so can we get a motion to continue this until next hearing apparently, which is March 13? And this way, we don't, I'm just gonna make sure we have an answer for council, from Attorney Bowen, excuse me.
so we're looking for a motion
Yes, please.
for a continuance
Continuous on 21-23.
and to include an extension for the time for the board to make a decision until March 28th. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, she has to give us that.
Okay.
The council.
All right, so that's my motion. So moved.
So motion to continue this matter until March 13. And Attorney Morton will give us an extension until March 28.
Yep.
So can I have a second on that motion?
Second.
Second by Rich, all in favor, say aye. Troy? Aye. Veronica?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
Myself, Nazir, aye.
We're gonna rehear this on the 13th.
13, yes. And
Okay,
hopefully we'll have an
hopefully
answer
If we
by-
don't, do you think it would just get extended if you don't have an answer from Attorney Bone?
We continue, yeah. Thank you, Council,
Thank you.
very much.
So what's the process?
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Councilor Silver. John.
So what's the process of, do we have to vote for,
We got a memo that the selectmen created a new policy that any board, not just this board, any, any
Yeah,
board, which
yeah.
would be us in planning.
conservation?
If we want to, we can't just run to town council and ask them questions. We have to have their permission. And in order to have their permission, we need to vote on it as a board, and then we need to submit to the selectmen, and the selectmen need to vote on it at their next scheduled meeting. And then they give us, okay, you can do it, or they'll ask on our behalf.
So I understand
Unanimous
that.
vote of the
They're
board.
sending us to the principal.
I understand that, but do we vote as soon as we're done with this, or do we wait
We
till the
need
end?
general
or-
vote. We do it under any other business and discussion at the end.
Section 7, we'll do it,
Okay,
we
that's
made
what I
a
want
note
to know,
to do
yeah,
it,
yeah.
That's
When
why
we-
I brought it up earlier.
We need unanimous vote, you
Yeah, you
said?
need a unanimous vote of the board.
Oh,
We need
okay,
a unanimous vote in order
to get the, so,
That's right.
all right, very
That's
good.
what the policy says.
All right, very good. All right, we're gonna move to 45-23, Josh DeOlim on 2613 Cranberry Highway. Good evening,
folks.
Councilor.
My name is Robert Perry, and I represent Mr. Deolam.
Thank you, Councilor.
If I recall properly, we're here tonight because there was some talk at the last meeting after Mr. Conti spoke, that my petition may not be in proper order because I might not have a substantial change from a 22 petition I filed. I said I'd like an opportunity to put something before you in writing, which I have done. In 2022, I filed a petition on behalf of Mr. Deolam seeking a special permit for 9 vehicles, 9 cars total on the property. When I came in the first time, there was a suggestion by this board that, well, maybe you can't meet that, maybe you want to amend that petition and maybe get 30 cars. Well, that amendment never happened. I stuck with the 9-car one only because, quite honestly, and thank God, I couldn't get any out of JC Engineering at the time, if you recall, and it went on, and understandably, I thought you dismissed my petition. Whatever you did, it doesn't matter anyway. I can live with whatever you did at that time. I then came back in '22 with a petition for 30 vehicles, the number this board gave me. And at one point during hearings, I said, well, look, My client wants to operate, as far as Mr. Conti goes, showing good faith. He would reduce the number of vehicles, provided Mr. Conti goes away. And we don't have to battle with him and talk about how he's in violation of his permits. We don't have an issue with him. We would do that. Well, I never did that, because obviously, based on Mr. Conti's coming back and forth here after all kinds of work he does, and making constant objections to my guy's petition, it's clear that he doesn't want to resolve this in any way, shape, or form. As a result, I never did a thing about amending my petition until I got back from Punta Cana and looked at the thing yesterday and said, hey, I did a good job on this thing. I filed the 30-car petition. I never changed it. All I didn't file was the petition for the application for site plan review. I filed that today together with a cover letter, my original 2023 cover letter attached to it. This remains a 30-car application with a total of about 37, maybe even 38, 39 spaces on the property. So I can't imagine a more substantial change than going from 9 cars to 37 spaces. So I don't see any way I'm subject to this thing being thrown out and me having to wait another year to go back. So that's the only reason we're here tonight, and I trust that
We denied it a year ago, that's the thing.
If you denied it or you simply dismissed it, doesn't matter. The statute permits me to file something that is a substantial change. That's what I
Which
did.
is
I
true, you
filed
did.
something with a substantial change. That's all that's required.
Right.
And once again, I filed it now, looking for what? I'm not much good at math, and I'm so exhausted from going away. At least 4 times as many cars as I came before you when you dismissed the original petition. So, I mean, I just can't imagine how anything can be more substantial than that. So,
That I have to agree on, but the board apparently gonna have to
well, I
agree.
understand that. I understand that.
Troy, what do
it's
you
the
think
board's
of this?
decision.
I don't have any opinion right yet.
No, Veronica?
I don't think I think it is not a substantial change, just changing the number of cars, I mean, still for the same thing, just saying more. You could say 50 next time if we say no, and then is that another substantial change? Or you could change it back down to 10 and reapply again. This could go on forever.
All right, Jimmy?
I think the attorney has a point. I think if he challenged our decision, it would get sent back to us. I think it is a substantial change.
Richard?
I kind of think it's a substantial change myself.
Yeah. I do too. It'd be good
But-
to ask Attorney Bowen.
But again, that is a good point. I mean, we can't keep just playing this game back and
Right.
forth.
Right.
I mean, at some point, we got to stop. It's either yes or no here.
Well,
I believe it's a substantial change, but Attorney Morton, prior to this case, she kind of changed my mind. I mean, made me doubt. But I believe this is a substantial change personally.
do you want to get an opinion on this one, too? We're going to be already,
I was going to suggest, it might be a good idea, because if you throw this out, obviously, I bring suit.
we can
end
put
up
it on the
going
same
over.
letter to the selectmen.
All I'm looking for is a fair hearing on what I think is a
So
substantial
the
change.
previous application was 30 cars, now how many cars?
30 cars, and I'm ready to compromise, but I'm not going to compromise back down to the 9, because
Right, right.
it needs a
Well, if you're
substantial
gonna do a
change.
site plan, might as
So, I
well
mean, I've been
do.
backed into a corner here where I've got to go through with something approaching that 30 cars.
Okay.
And I intend to, I'll counter Mr. Conti. I'll take care of that problem myself. Believe me, I'll be with with our building commissioner tomorrow concerning Mr. Conti.
But if you're 30 and you're gonna do 25, that's not a substantial change. But 30
30
to
to
10.
25? Well,
That's
25 compared to 9. What you got to compare is apples and oranges. The original petition for 9 vehicles compared to 30 or 25, 25 still a substantial change.
Oh, so you're talking about the original was 9.
Well,
You're
that's
right.
what you compare
Yeah,
with
you're
when
right.
you look at, can I come back within 2
Right.
years or not? You have
You're
to
right.
compare
You're
the
right.
original petition. And
You're
does
right.
my new petition demonstrate a substantial change? I can't imagine that anybody can say it doesn't.
Right.
We've increased the request tremendously.
And you're willing to do the site plan and everything else?
I filed it. It's all filed. You should have copies. If you don't, I can give you an
That's
extra
okay,
copy now.
but you have to do 53G and all that. But you'll be willing
My
to
guy's
do
away
this?
right now. I intend to open the account on Monday.
All right. Before you do, let's get it. might as
Well,
well.
well, yeah, I don't want to throw money away. I'd like,
Right,
if you want to get an opinion of town council, I'd like to get that and
okay.
know
why
where I
don't-
stand before I spend any more money on this.
All right, let's do that. Before we go away, let's go to the public and ask who's in favor of this matter and who's against. Mr. Conte, you want to come forward? Name and address for the
Christopher
record?
Conti, 2614 and 2616 Cranberry Highway. I'm a direct abutter.
Yeah.
You know, I brought this to the board about section 16, 48, section 16. I still think it's a repetitive petition. When he originally filed, it was for 9 vehicles. He came back and his proposed site plan, I guess, said 30 vehicles on the proposed site plan. He didn't apply for a site plan, though, at that time either. So, and the board denied, I guess, this because of that. I don't think it's a substantial change, and I'm still not in favor of this. And I would also like to see Attorney Bowen be asked about this, too.
Yeah, let's see what Attorney Bone says, and we go from there. Let's continue to March 13th.
So before we continue it, I'll make that motion, but I just want to be clear on what we're doing. We're asking for the attorney's opinion on whether we continue to hear under the original application, or are we doing a...
23 application, not the 22.
So the 23, the 45-23 is what's on here.
That's what the
So-
petition, that's before you,
So
exactly.
what's in front of us is to decide whether or not we're gonna continue to discuss 45-23. We're not closing that one and opening a new one.
No, not at all, not at all.
This is-
If I did, I'd open it with the same thing, the plans I've given you for 30 cars.
Yeah, okay, that's, okay, so now I'll make a motion that we continue this matter until when? March 13th?
Yes.
And that's the only issue on this one that night, right? Because I have another one that's going to be a kind of lengthy one. I don't have a problem with the 13th, it's the same issue.
13th?
Can you have an opinion of town council by then?
Well,
Which matter?
on
Have the,
on us,
One down on Cranberry Highway on that night for hearing, Ezekiel Lasorda, used car lot.
The old church, the hobby
Oh, the old chair? We never denied that.
No, I have it on for a full-blown hearing on this.
Yeah, so we don't need.
So I
both.
just, I mean, I'd rather, from my point of view, I can't last out 2 long ones. I can do the long one for Lasada, but I'm assuming this is gonna be a relatively quick one.
This
once
is
again.
will be quick.
Yeah,
We say,
so I'll do
okay,
them
it's
both-
way to
I'll do
go.
them both the same night. If you're confident, you can get an opinion by then. If not, just let me know, and I have no problem with putting it over,
Okay,
okay?
all right, very good.
so I'm moving that we continue until March 13th.
Do you have a second?
Fair enough. All right.
Second on Jim's motion?
Second.
Second by Troy. All in favor, say aye. Troy? Aye. Veronica?
Deny.
Okay.
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
And myself, aye. We'll see you on the 13th.
Did you say aye or
Thank you,
deny?
folks. I'll see-
Deny.
That's good you picked the 13th anyway, because I don't remember to be here, because I know I'm already here. Good night now.
1-0, so that's 4-1-0.
For,
I didn't hear,
what's up, man?
so, who,
Veronica's no,
no, because no. Okay.
but it carries until then. All right, we're gonna go to public hearing,
5-24.
5-24 for Walid Daya, 2544 and 2546 Cranberry Highway. All right.
Bell and Morton, gee, we haven't seen them in minutes. Here you go. And his. And I'll put one over here for my sandwiches.
All right, Counselor.
Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on February 28th, 2024 at 6:30 PM in Room 320 of the Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass. 02571, to consider petition number 5-24 for a special permit and site plan review from the requirements of Article 3, Table 320, Article 15, Section 1520, and Article 9, Table 920 and 921, under the Wareham zoning bylaws, to Wallard Odaya, care of Attorney Jillian Morton of 184 Main Street, Wareham, Mass., proposing to change the current retail use to motor vehicle sales and motor vehicle service located at 2544 and 2546 Cranberry Highway, Wareham, Mass. This appears on Assessors Map 109A1, Lot 1039, in the Commercial Strip Zoning District.
Very well, Council.
Great.
Name?
Attorney Jillian Morton, 184 Main Street. I trust you have your packets. I just want to start with a little bit of brief history. I know a lot of you probably understand the site where it is, but just a little bit more of my client. So I represent Gateway Auto Clinic. So my clients end up purchasing this property in July of 2023. So Mark's Auto and Towing being the prior owners, operated a motor vehicle service and towing there since 2016 when they purchased it. Prior to that, the location was a Napa Auto Parts retail store. Okay, so you can still, when you drive by, still see the Napa there. Unfortunately, the prior ownership did not acquire the proper special permits for the change of use necessary. So my clients are now in the position to appeal to the board for these. So we understand that we're taking this as you as a special permit granting authority to also let us go through the site plan review as well. So we have the two applications before you. So just want to say we're fully cooperative of what's going on and what the town has to do to protect itself. You know, this is a little bit of a unique one because we're not going through, it's not a brand new used car lot. It's has been there since 2016, you know, essentially operating illegally, not under a special permit. So we're in front of you. We provided the plans as far as the existing, and then there is a, you can see the interior as well. We provided that plan so you could see what's in the inside. So as far as the variance, the special permits that we're seeking, this is going to be for the uses prior, if you recall, owner had towing. That's not something that we're doing on this site. So that's not occurring. But motor vehicle service and sales is something that we're seeking in order to move forward to this. So I do think this is a great asset to the town. I also have, which I don't know if Ms. Raposo emailed this, but I have the hard copies so you can have them. A bunch of letters from supporters, you know, local businesses, O'Reilly Auto Parts, the Gateway Adult Center, a lot of even municipal, the police, they were using this site for stickers. So it is a really active site, and they try to do as much as giving back to the community. So I have that for you too, the letters of support. So I'm not sure how you guys want to tackle it. Sometimes we do it separately in the way of looking for relief on the use, or you want to go straight into the site plan, but obviously Mr. Madden's here to kind of brief you on that.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna go through site plan.
Yeah, absolutely, okay.
All right, Mr. Madden?
I'm Bill Madden from GAF Engineering, here on behalf of Gateway Auto Clinic. We received a copy of the letter from the building department that required us to prepare a site plan for site plan review, and where the focus of the building commissioner's letter was surrounded parking. I wanted to make sure, or to understand the parking better on the site, and to try to identify the number of spaces that were available for both the 9-car used car license and the automotive service portion of the facility. So that's what we focused on predominantly. If you look at the site plan, what we did, we submitted the site plan. One of the more important features, I think, of the site was the need to have proper handicap accessible parking to provide the access into the building. So the focus was to create the required number of parking spaces, handicap parking spaces, based on the total parking required on the parcel for the intended use. So we had less than 50 parking spaces required, so we ended up needing 2 handicap accessible spaces, which we show right on the front of the building. Proper grade exists. We're able to provide wheelchair access, handicap access into the building, both doors, and showed those 2 spaces. We also showed 9 individual spaces for display spaces for the motor vehicle sales. Each one of the spaces with a circle in it and a number, those were the spaces that were identified for motor vehicle sales. And those parking spaces that we indicated on the plan, those are currently delineated on the site. So we used the spaces that had been previously delineated on the property. So one thing I'd like to point out is that, well, let me just go through with the parking. So the parking changed recently under zoning that now it requires 5 parking spaces per lift or bay.
Right.
I think is what it is. So what we did is we know that there's 3 lifts in the building. The floor plan that I provided indicates the 3 lifts where they're located. So that would require a total of 15 parking spaces for that.
Right.
There's a small office, separate and distinct from the motor vehicle service portion of the building. It's 575 square feet. That would require 3 parking spaces at 1 per 250 square feet there. So the 15 plus the 3 is 15 plus this 3 is 18 is what is required. And the reason we believe that the 15 spaces is what's required is because the entire facility, absent of that 576 square feet, is motor vehicle service. Whether it's an office, whether it's a conference room, whether it's a parts counter, whether it's parts storage within the building, those are all elements of the motor vehicle service facility. So we don't break it down to a separate office area for that, like I did for the separate 576 that is not associated with motor vehicle service. So that's how we conclude that there's 18 spaces required plus 9 display vehicle spaces. That's a total of 18. There's 26 on the site. So we're not deficient in parking in any respect. So I just want to point that out. That's how we establish the number of parkings, the required number of parking spaces.
Excuse me, do you mind?
Yeah, go ahead.
So it's 15 for the 3 lifts. It's 3 for, what's that, PC connection or whatever they are out there in the other unit.
Yes.
That gets us to 18. But there's also a used car portion of this, or no?
Yeah, there's a used car portion.
That's for 9 cars?
Yes.
So would that be 18 plus 9?
That's 9 display areas. They're not considered parking areas. Those are retail vehicle parking display areas. So it's not parking for customers. It's not people entering, coming and going from the facility, from the service area.
So those 9 spaces are above and beyond the 18 that you're presenting?
Correct.
Okay, and then the sales component doesn't add any
There
more?
was no requirement for a sales component in there, other than there is an office in there, and where the uses are joined with motor vehicle service. I mean, you know, I don't know why the town chose to go from, I think it was 2 per lift or per bay previously, to 5. I only think that due to my past experience in the town, that other like-type projects, it was always, well, where does the mechanic park? Where does the secretary park? Where does this other person park? You know, so I felt that the reason why 5 was required is that accommodated all the users within that specific use category of motor vehicle service. So that's why I'm of the opinion that I'm of with respect to the number of spaces. I mean, that whole area in the front, with the exception of the 576 square feet, is associated with the motor vehicle service. It's not a for-rent office building. It's not medical billing. It's not anything other than associated with that motor vehicle service. If you go down there today, there's a large service counter, there's a lot of parts in that room. There is a conference room that somebody could be talking to somebody, perhaps with the sale of a motor vehicle. You know, the manager who's going to offer the final discount, the final price on the product rather. So that's how we came up with the number of spaces that we have.
You don't think the car sales needs office space and parking and all that?
It's all part of, I don't think it needs, I think we have additional parking to accommodate that. I don't think there's anything within the bylaw that specifically tells us what we need for parking for motor vehicle sales.
So, if I can,
Yeah.
I count, on the floor plan, I count 5 total offices. So the office, you're saying there's one general office for everything that goes on with motor vehicles. The other offices would be offices of people who are mechanics that are working, that already have, I mean, I'm just curious, I'm just bringing it up only because I counted 5 offices on the floor plan, that's why.
Well, I don't know what the office distribution is. I don't know whether the payroll clerk works there, whether there's a bookkeeper that comes in several times a week, whether the owners of the building have their own individual offices. So that's why I look at.
So I was just looking, sorry to interrupt. but
Sure.
It's just, I see 3 spaces, so is that 3 spaces per office, or just 3 spaces for any office workers?
No, that's 3 spaces for the.
Just that office
separate
there?
Office there.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner, can you clarify this? I'm under the impression every 250 square feet you need a parking.
This is the first I've heard of this argument. First thing is, there's 3 lifts and there's 1 inspection bay area. So that inspection bay area calls for 5 spots. That's
Okay.
in our bylaws.
So it's 3 lifts plus an inspection bay. You're saying it's not 3 times 5, it's 4 times 5?
Correct.
Okay, that's, okay.
And what's that
So
office?
I just saw this plan today, so this afternoon, I calculate out that with 8 spots for the Class 2 license, they need a total of 44 spots for this lot.
Total 44?
44, correct.
And how many they have?
I'm not quite sure.
We have 26.
So you don't agree with Mr. Madden on the office?
Again, there was a very unique argument. I just heard it as you did.
What's our bylaw says?
I broke it down. Each room, the building code goes by, a room is defined on what you put on a plan as you want to call it. You want to call it a kitchen, you want to call it a bedroom, you want to call it a service area, you want to call it a storage room, you want to call it an office. So on the plan dictates to me what I should be calculating for parking.
So if those offices weren't going to be used as offices, they
They're
shouldn't
all
be
the-
offices
That's right,
on
there
there.
should be 250, correct.
Oh, okay, okay.
All right, did you, for open 53G, did Phil?
Yes.
And then a major?
Yes.
Okay, did we hear back from them?
We just provided it last week, so we don't have that back. So we
Okay.
understand that's gonna be a part. I would, perhaps the commissioner can, and the engineers, everyone can kind of get together, because that's how I understood your change in the bylaw as well. That people were jamming up these motor vehicle service centers, you didn't like how it looked. Now for 5 spots, the customer's there, the mechanic, the, worker at the front, that's really what it provides, so.
Yeah, I
we
think-
can.
I'm sorry. I think what our angle was is when you try and get just one guy with 2 lifts, and he's gonna work, and he's gonna gather a whole bunch of throw up all over from cars, this one can't be fixed today, this one can't be fixed. I think that was our intent on the way that we interpret it, but now we have a quagmire here, because now we're in a situation where it's just adding up to astronomical figures. So I think in a way, we need to look at overall picture on what's classified as a lift and office and whatnot, because if he says 44,
Yeah, I think that the
some
special permit
restructuring.
could be specific to the fact that when we're talking about the 1 office space, that's the 1 tenant. That's the 3 spaces. The rest of this, your special permit can be specific, that whole space is motor vehicle services. So if you figure out one of the spaces is trying to be a separate office, would I would say increase the parking necessary, then it's a violation.
How many cars are parked over there right now?
Well, client's here, Brendan?
So we're counting the offices up on the mezzanine, is that what part of the problem is?
Just introduce
No,
yourself.
on the floor.
Excuse me, all I did was just go through the floor plan, and I'm noticing office, office, office. If we could, if they didn't need them to be offices, they could be changed out from being offices, because if it's storeroom, I see one's a break room. So it's just, I just brought it up, the fact that I see so many offices.
Well, this office A,
That's for lease, that's somebody.
that's the leasing, there's feasibly 3 there, but that, I think he's only counting 3 spaces for that whole area.
That's what you mean.
And I think that's appropriate for what they, you know. So I don't have a problem with that. And I see storage, I see a break room, I see another storage, I see a waiting area, but I don't see any more offices on the main floor, so maybe I'm not following it.
Well, I'm including the second, I'm including the second floor, because the
Okay,
second
okay.
floor is put on the plan. So we go by what's on the plan, so that's all I'm asking.
Okay, that's why that's what I'm trying to,
And if we get to the bottom and it's not being used and it's not, it doesn't classify it, then, I mean, classify as with the business, then it doesn't include. That's all. Just asking a question on that.
All right, sir, your name and address.
No, sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, my name is Brendan Coleman. My address is 192 Forest Street in Weymouth. And I'm a manager,
Yeah.
Gateway Auto Clinic. I could probably clarify almost all of your questions.
Go ahead.
To answer the first thing about how many cars are on the lot right now, currently including a few that have been there that need motors that we haven't been able to work on because clearly we can't do that work right now, and I'm not towing them to the other location, there's probably about, I'd say about 20. I didn't count them before I came here. So there's probably roughly 20, maybe a little less. And then as far as the offices upstairs, things like that, there is one office upstairs that I use, and I keep the payroll and paperwork and all that stuff there. The other one is actually used for storage of the diagnostic computers, the tools, things that are worth a little bit more money that don't necessarily need to float around. And then the main office in the first floor in the service area is kind of a conference room, break room area / multi-purpose room, whatever you want to call it. That separate office area is an empty office area. It is not leased out anymore. There is no one there. It's empty. It may very well become the sales office. I don't know at the moment. That's not really been determined. But that's why that's segregated, because it was at one point a separate rental unit that the previous owner was renting. That is not currently the use of it at the moment.
All right, Mr. Madden's argument makes sense. There's something we should visit with the bylaw, no?
I have an issue.
Go ahead.
It's a 6,300 square foot building, so minus 560 square foot of office space. That's all we're gonna call this office. All the rest is gonna be service. Is that correct?
it's identified on the plan where the service area is.
I see that. So you're, on the plan, it says you have 2,170 square feet of service area. But according to what your argument tonight is, 6,300 square feet total building, minus the one office in the corner, 560, leaves 5,740 square feet of service space for motor service. The problem is with that, if you have a motor service over 5,000 feet,
Well,
you're gonna need a sprinkler system.
as I understand it, and maybe I'm
But we're
wrong,
going two different ways. That's the
Sir,
problem we're having.
sir,
Let me
listen,
finish,
I want to
please.
give you the floor, you speak, go ahead.
That's the problem. So the building code, if someone labels this whole plan service, then it's 6,000 square feet service. The whole thing, 2/3 of it office, and it goes by what's on the plan. We're
you
gonna have a
understand that?
conflict, we're gonna have a
I do,
conflict when they do the,
maybe I just don't understand.
Anything
The
over,
bylaws.
if you call it all service and
No, I
you-
get what you're saying. What I'm confused at is, and that's, I'm asking, please don't, so
That's fine.
please feel free to clarify, and I,
yeah, no
you know,
problem.
we've.
This is all
you
new to
gotta
me.
talk to
Yeah.
us, sir, you gotta talk to us only. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
I apologize.
That's okay.
So, as I understood, it, anything over 5,000 feet needed, of garage space needs sprinkler. I totally understand that. But what Mr. Madden's saying is, you know, that space is for the, he's not saying it's all garage space. He's saying it's all used for the service industry, the service department, the service center. So there's a section out front where there's a waiting room with the TV and the chairs and a coffee pot and all that stuff for customers to sit and wait when we're up and running. There's, you know, parts of the storage area of pots and things like that. There is obviously the office that we just discussed where I keep all the paperwork and there's pot slips and all that type of stuff. There's the break room, there's, you know what I mean? So it's all the service department, the service center. It's not all garage space.
Right, it's the labeling. You're gonna have to go back and fix the labeling. Let me give my opinion on this. I know you guys bought it, you didn't know there was no permit, fine. You're willing to do the site plan, you're doing through the whole thing. I don't think the board is gonna be hard on you, giving you a few variances here and there until we clarify the matter. Let's see what Alan Major says. We'll discuss it more, maybe you could do different labeling. Now, is the place had a dealer license prior? Or is that something new you're doing?
I'd like to talk about the history of that. I mean, so obviously I mentioned it was Mark's Auto. They had inspection sticker machine
Yeah.
license there.
Right.
Right, but actually no special permit. This was an issue which is not in front of this forum. Forum will be handling that in a separate forum with the prior owner. But they, what was the question? Sorry.
Is that a dealer license with Mark?
I've heard mixed answers on that as far as the actual deal sales. I've heard mixed answers. I don't really know the answer, to be honest with
Well,
you.
it's very simple. Just start with the selectmen
Yeah,
if that was a license.
I haven't been able to personally go and look it up, but some people have said that, yes, there was one there at one point. Other people have said, no, there wasn't, so I don't know the answer.
Probably that
To
wasn't.
the question,
Yeah.
by my memory, before this was Mark's Auto, by my memory, it was, the building was installing radios in cars.
Someone had mentioned that to me in the
And
past, too.
and I think that the walls that are shown on this plan, as I'm looking at it, appear to be the same walls that existed back when they were installing keyless entry and auto start and radios in cars. Mark's Auto came along and bought the building and used it as it was. I don't think Mark's Auto ever applied for any permits to do anything. They just bought the building and moved in. And, they either outlived it or whatever, and they sold it to this gentleman. And I don't think you've changed any walls.
No.
So it looks like they're just trying to work with what's there. And, you know, again, going back to what I think you said, Mr. Chairman, if they go to the computer that generated these plans and put different labels on different sections, everything might conform.
We will clarify the matter.
Pardon me?
We will clarify the matter to see, I mean, your argument makes sense, the bylaw makes sense. Having a garage, four-bay garage, why would you need 2,700 square feet of office space?
The
And-
big display, that big room out front.
Yeah, and.
Because the
so-
wall's there already, and, yeah.
Right, but let's see what Alan Major says. You're doing the right thing, and once you come back, I mean, you guys will have a nice landscape and lighting. Test the drainage, see what's happening with drain, all these things.
Well, we would like to talk about that as well tonight if we
Yeah, go
have
ahead.
the opportunity.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
Regarding that big showroom. Currently, on the current structure of the building, there's no way to open a couple of doors and put a car out in that area.
There's no ability
No
to put
indoor- no
vehicle
car
display
inside,
inside the building, in the front of the building, no.
And there's no, I shouldn't say there are there any thoughts or plans of possibly doing that in the future?
No. I mean, not as I'm anywhere right now anyways, no.
You're not gonna,
Thought honestly never crossed
You're
my
not
mind
gonna
until you
give
just
them-
said that, and I still don't think it's really worth it, so probably not.
Rolls-Royce service, you know, we changed to oil, now
One
come pick
can
it up in
dream,
our
but I
dining
don't think
room.
so.
No, okay. All right, just
Yeah, I mean,
trying to understand. I get the point that, I guess, you know, when the guy was doing auto tunes and stuff in there, he had tires and rims and
and
doodads
that's, I mean, at some point, it wouldn't be bad to display rims or other parts that are for sale out there. That's kind of the
he had
thought.
zoom
'cause
zoom mufflers and
Try to
things.
use the space that's there, that we can use it for, but not do
See,
construction.
that's when you get into trouble, it becomes retail. Now you're required the parking.
Well, we're gonna be installing we we'd only be selling parts that we're installing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not looking to open a pot store. That's not what we're looking for.
I understand.
Yeah.
So I have a couple
Yeah,
questions.
go ahead.
So I'm not clear, so the operation is staying the same as what it currently is, or the operation is gonna remain the same and add cars for sale, or
Yes,
what's?
that's what they want.
Yeah, and just a point, I can absolutely answer that. So, and just to speak to Mr. Akabachi's point too, there actually was an application for a change of use from Mark. And somehow it did not have to go through this process. So towing and auto body is what was applied for in the building commissioner. Obviously, Mr. Turner was not here during that time. So that's what it was, and we're obviously not doing the towing. So in all purposes, it's pretty much the same minus the big towing trucks there.
So there's gonna be no permit for towing? That's not something in the future that once
That's not
it's
something
gonna
he's
happen?
interested in, no.
Is towing a separate permit, or isn't that towing part of auto service?
If you have a garage, you could.
If they got a permit for auto service, they can have a tow truck, I believe.
Yeah, well, I think it's important as far as
Yeah,
what's
it's not your
there.
intention,
They're
I
big
get it, but
trucks,
yeah.
you know?
All right, Mr. Mann, let's talk about drainage and stuff.
Yeah, what is the expectation on?
Whatever Alan Major says. Whatever he comes back with, we're gonna stick to.
So if he comes back full site plan, full all of that on an existing project, that's what the board's gonna expect.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then, and we will, like I said, personally, I'll be willing to give few variances here and there. If we don't, we will talk, me and the commissioner, about it during a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and we're absolutely
About the
cooperative.
offices.
Yeah.
And if you come up with a site plan that makes Alan Major happy, I think this board would be happy, no? What do you think, Rich?
Where did Gateway Auto exist before they were here?
Gateway Auto.
What's the name of this business?
Gateway Auto
Gateway
Clinic,
Auto
yeah.
Clinic.
Pardon me?
Gateway Auto Clinic.
Gateway Auto Clinic.
So it's a,
So when I read some of the accolades and some of the letters in support of you, I was, matter of fact, Gateway Adult Care Center, I think they said that you've been taking care of their cars for a number of years.
no, we started with them, I've actually worked with some of their employees for a number of years. But them themselves on their fleet vehicles, just since we took over.
Just since you've been here?
Yeah. But there's a couple partners that own the company. I'm just the one that manages the day-to-day in the shop, so that's why I'm up here, because I can answer most of the questions as far as that goes. But there's also a sister shop in Sandwich. And between the 5 partners that are involved, we have experience in both dealerships and service centers all over the state, ranging anywhere from me being the youngest of the 5 of us, and I'm pushing 20.
You're
2
almost
years now.
20? You're
Yeah,
still
right.
19?
Pushing almost 22 years in the industry now, and I have the least amount of experience, so gives you some idea. So we've been, this technically is a new business per se, even though it's connected sister-wise to our shop in Sandwich. It is a, it's a new location. It's not like we didn't move locations or something like that.
Where is your shop in Sandwich? What's the-
Route 6A. You're familiar with Sandwich, I'm guessing, obviously. Canal Auto Clinic.
One other
So,
thing.
so basically what they did is they bought a business and thought the business was ready to go, and come to find out there was not supposed to be any business there, so.
We actually.
They got it between a rock and a hard place, so they're crawling to us, and they need to get some help. So I didn't mean to fog it up with that, but I'd just like to say, clarify what's on the plans. That's all we're doing.
Yep.
No, absolutely. We get the process, we were hit with, justifiably so, a cease and desist before Christmas to stop all operations because it was not permitted. So, and we understand, I understand, the clients understand, we want to move this forward. So however we can provide to you information and show to you that we're gonna abide by all the rules, and whether that's showing you some landscaping improvements and things like that. Just hard to see a full site plan on an existing site already with, we're talking about drainage. Mr. Madden can tell you it's,
Maybe
in
the
his
drainage is
opinion.
good, maybe you just have to clean it.
Well, they have been maintained, the three structures that are on that lot now. There has not been a problem. There is no runoff running onto anybody's property. It's not causing a nuisance to anyone. It's not causing a health hazard to anyone. It does function. I mean, it's old-style drainage, does not meet present-day stormwater management. And, present-day stormwater management is pretty, you all know, you see it on, it's pretty rigorous, what we have to do. And one of the things that wasn't troubling, but one of the things that was perplexing about the whole project is, it's a pre-existing site and we are changing use. So how do we deal with site plan review with a change in use? Usually all of our site plan review is for new facility, new structures. We understand it fully and go from there, and just didn't know how this was all going to integrate with something that has been there for 25, 30 years. What is the expectation going to be?
This is the whole idea, to fix our highway and make it look better and happy for everybody. That's
You
the
can't
whole
compete with,
idea.
can't compete with that beautiful sign over there, the new lit-up sign.
So apparently the sign, when they change it, they're gonna need a permit for that too, basically.
The sign, okay, yes, unless which my recommendation would be, the sign should comply with the current zoning and would not need anything other than a building permit.
If it complies.
If it
yes.
complies. But that would be my suggestion to
Right.
the applicant. As you know, that's kind of my standard response with a sign.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess that's,
And I'd just like to say, it's kind of tough for them because they had a business up and running and now they've stopped and they're shuttling cars back and forth from Wareham to Sandwich to get them fixed to keep income coming in. So, they're between a rock and a hard place, so. That's my feelings on them.
you know you're gonna have to do floor drain and stuff in that place. The plumbing inspector gonna.
There
make
is,
you
there is currently a drain in the building.
Floor drain,
Yeah.
water all
Yeah.
separated.
Goes
There's
out
one?
to a grease trap and all that?
I honestly, it's pre-existing, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
What
think the
this-
plumbing inspector would sign on that if you don't have one.
I just
So
know
the
that,
sign you have
the
to
drain's there,
explore.
I can physically see the drain, that's the
Well, I
extent
mean,
of.
if I may, Mr. Chairman, just interject on that, those of us that remember what has occurred with garage floor drains over the last 25 years, it's, you don't have one, put one in. Okay, you put it in, 10 years later, take it out, seal it up. Now, today's standards, put one in, put it, once you have a floor drain in there, then you separate that, you put an oil water separator, interceptor in line, and then you go to a holding tank with
Correct.
that water for non-industrial holding tank wastewater. So, it's a big undertaking, it's quite expensive, but that is what the plumbing code requires.
Yeah, that's what he's gonna require you, or he won't sign off. But you should check with them something to plan for, because he won't sign off on that, I know for a fact. So what are we gonna do? Send the gentleman, keep going what they doing, and we'll be lenient with the parking? What do you
I
think?
think that's a reasonable approach. I guess that anything that would be environmentally related, in specific floor drains and stormwater runoff, I mean, they got 7 acres of land. It's a known area that there's a lot of wetland back there. We certainly don't want to find out that the plan is that whole pervious area is draining into a wetland, and it's an auto repair shop, so.
Which it is not.
I know,
by the
I
way.
know, it's,
Yeah.
so I think, I personally feel as though, yeah, we could show a lot of leniency in a lot of areas, but once it comes to, impacts on the environment or any butters, I think we need to kind of really see what we need to do to conform, comply.
I don't think there's any objection to complying to those types of things.
And also, we should probably look to see if we can put some kind of an amendment in what we came up with the 5 per bay when it comes to certain sizes of the, if we're dealing with a small lot under so many thousand square feet, then yes. But as we get bigger, like I said, I think we created a problem with
5 per bay for the
five per
first 3
yeah.
bays.
I mean, well, because they got plenty of room.
Per bay for every bay thereafter.
He's not gonna interfere like some of these people that have just one car in a two-car garage bay, and next thing you know, the whole neighborhood's full of cars. So I think at some point, we need to look at what we created, and
So
maybe put a stipulation in there on size, square footage.
Well, in this matter, the office was there. If they
No, I'm
built
just
it
saying
today, they wouldn't build that big of an office, apparently. It
Think-
just happened that it's here. Go
I
ahead,
think, I'm not entirely comfortable with it. Just because I can't picture the site for some reason. So I do want to see the site, and I think we should also keep in mind one location that I always think of that has bays in many, many cars, we all know, Master Muffler. So looking at how many parking spaces they have with their bays and how busy they are is, I feel like, a good judge, and I don't know if, I'm not comfortable yet to say yes on this without actually seeing the site.
The site plan.
You know where it is, right? You know where,
No, I can't think of where it
Next
is.
to the water department.
next to the water department.
Oh,
the
so
old-
it is there. I thought it was there, but then all of a sudden I was picturing East Wareham for
Where
some
the
reason.
Triangle gas station is across the street.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh,
Jules'
it goes
old
down.
place.
Yeah, I
Jules'
know.
dad.
Okay.
Remember Jules, her father, the Napa? Jules?
No.
It was originally
I
built
thought there was a
as an
computer
auto
store
parts
there. Wasn't there a
It was a
computer store?
computer, yeah.
Yeah,
No, the
Mark's
computer guy's still
owned
there.
everything
Still there.
around, and then
Oh,
Mark's
he's-
bought it
he's
up
not
and has
there
been
anymore.
using it.
The computer,
Is he the
PC's
one
not
that-
there anymore?
That's that building, though? And he leased
Who's
it?
in that space?
Okay.
Excuse me, through you.
It's empty.
It's empty.
That's that separate office area he was talking about, yes.
So I guess I would have a question about that, too, because that kind of comes up. Is this solely going to be for this company? Because I'm doing the math with, all right, you got 2 people per, for each bay, right? You get your worker, but you have your customer, person at the front, 9 cars for sale, 2 offices. I'm saying, maybe you'll have 2 people, if there's only the 2 people. Then you have 9 cars sitting for repair. And then visitors or people that are coming in for whatever. So,
They're for sale.
Yeah, but
well,
the
no,
si-
but you have, well, he said he has cars that sit on the lot that are waiting for parts and stuff, so we have to consider that that's also gonna be the case.
That's where the 5 cars come in.
Yeah, so I'm at 26 with all those things that I just said, exactly 26.
And that's what
And
it's got.
And that's without anything else happening. So that's why I trying to remember what the site looks like and all that.
Right, and
And
the
I'd
sale,
No, I get it.
like to see your current,
Generally speaking, cars don't sit in the lot that long. Right now, they're sitting longer because there's cars that we took on that needed a motor or something like that we currently haven't finished.
Because they can't,
it can't
because there's no
operate.
business. They
Hasn't been
shut the
operated
business
since
down, there was
December.
cars sitting there, the cars are still sitting there because they can't get them off the
So we have vehicles that
lot.
have not moved in 2 months. That doesn't normally happen.
yeah.
So that, generally, the turnaround's a day or 2. It's not usually that case. I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna say there's never a part that doesn't come like within an hour. You never know, but generally, parts are pretty readily available.
I hope,
But his statement was the fact that those cars got stranded because the business got shut down.
Yeah.
It wasn't the fact that what his normal business routine was.
somebody
Yeah,
went in for
so-
windshield wipers, and now they've been sitting there for 2 months waiting to get their car back.
going back to the car sales,
Yes.
but the car sales, it's a business by itself. It's gonna need customer parking and all that stuff,
Yeah,
too.
and there are some spots that we can
Where? I don't see them.
squeeze in there.
They're not
There's
dedicated.
there's additional parking. According to that plan, there's 9 additional spaces. We didn't designate one for customer parking, but per our parking schedule on the plan, there are excess spaces, and one of them could be used for customer parking for the motor vehicle sales portion. And I don't know how much you pay attention to it. I pay attention to it all the time because I did the project and I drive by it a number of times every day. It's Gateway Auto Sales right downtown at the end of Chapel Street on Main Street. Have a pretty good idea what goes on there for sales and what have you. There's a lot of online sales that go on typically with used cars nowadays. And you do not see many customers drive up there. Someone who sees a vehicle that they might be interested in purchasing, they'll pull in and there'll be one there'll be one car in that parking area. And I want to say that there was not a requirement for us to have a parking space for the customers per the zoning that was in effect at that time. Not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm just saying that's how that facility seems to operate on a license that they have, I believe, a 36-car license. So they have 10, I believe, up front, they have 2 in the building, and then they have storage of other inventory at the rear of the site.
That industry is generally moving more and more online. It's just the way the world is. And I apologize, I didn't answer your question earlier. I got off topic, I apologize. But yes, the building is gonna be just for the one company. It's, that rental thing is not, that's why they're not there anymore.
Okay, thank you.
It shouldn't have a big impact on our decision, but we should bear in mind, anybody that's driven by there, while it was the former owner with the towing business, there were times when that yard was packed. There must have been 50, 60 vehicles in there, plus tow vehicles. This certainly does appear to be a much less intensive use of the site. And it certainly does sound like we have somebody here that earnestly wants to do the right thing. It's not like they came in there and ran a business for a number of years without a special permit. They want their permit.
So we're looking at waiting for Alan and Major's report and then continuing this?
I would. Let's see what they say.
If I may, I would
Yeah.
like it for the next hearing if it's possible. You just heard he's had his business shut down before Christmas, so how we can move this along and get feedback and the engineers communicate.
yeah.
You know, perhaps the building commissioner does I don't know if this would be helpful, a letter regarding his parking and what his calculations are. If you just want to go from Allen to Major, that's up to you, but I think once we get that nailed down, it will help provide a lot of clarity.
Yeah, well, let's
too.
push it through quick as
Okay.
possible.
Thank you.
So,
And we'll, I would like to move forward with it without the dealer license for right now. And go after, maybe 6, 8 months later, come back for a dealer, see what happened, and see how traffic is there. But let's wait until Allen Major.
you think you could get it through quicker without the dealership? Is that what you're thinking?
I would say right now,
Get them operating and,
get them going and
Well, that
stuff.
seems to be fair to me.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that, too.
I mean, unless it's gonna cost him a bunch of money just to come back and do it again, you know? I mean, if he's got a way to file these 2 things and get it out of the way, like I believe his strategy was, hey, whatever you want me to do now so I can get going is what we do. So
And right now,
if we
they can't-
see that we can get him moving and repairing, then I think that's in our best interest and his best interest.
yeah, get that guy his windshield wipers.
One of the things too to note, we talked about the sticker machine as well. He can't have that until he has the licensure and everything.
Yeah, I can't even, I have to completely restart that process. That could take a couple months, and we can't do that until we,
Is the machine still there?
technically, the physical machine is there, but it's not connected to the state.
Yeah, nobody answers it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I actually literally had the registry at that door last week yelling and screaming at me because I didn't call them to come and take the old stickers away. I've left you 20 messages, actually, but you haven't called me back.
So that's a big part of his business.
I know.
Like I said, police
So
and
we're
He didn't
looking to
believe
come
me
back-
until he called and nobody answered him either.
Yeah, but let's just carry on with Allen Major. Let's see, I would check with the plumbing inspector right away, because don't wait last minute.
Okay.
Because, like I told you, so you probably want to start doing this now, tomorrow. And that drain, that floor drain. So when we say yes, or Allen Major finish, and you're ready to open, because that's a lot of work. We'll sort a few things out with the commissioner, and we'll see next time what happens. We'll push it as fast as we can.
So we're continuing to the 13th, that's the
Yes.
conversation, motion to continue.
Before we go forward, didn't ask the public. Anyone in the public want to speak in favor of this matter?
Okay.
Anyone want to speak against this matter? I hear none.
Okay.
All right, let's do that.
thank you.
Okay, very well. So let's get a motion to 13.
My motion stands.
Second?
Second by Rich. All in favor to move it till the 13th, continue it till 13th, say aye. Troy? Aye. Veronica?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
Myself, Nazir, aye. So we'll see you on the 13th.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, much appreciated.
Okay. Let's put this stuff back in the folder before we go to
Yeah.
Three Toe Road.
Here we go.
Is this one? This, oh, this is all pile. This is your pile. Oh, that's his pile, your pile. We got piles of piles. Okay. Anybody else got anything to go in this one before I,
Yes, sir.
Veronica's still.
we got them
I'm
all?
still fiddling
piling
around
her
with
stuff
this.
together.
Yes,
What's that, you got something?
I do.
Okay, see? Thank you.
Oh, trying to get these organized here. There it goes.
Thank you. I thank you, and our department coordinator who has to take the misfiled stuff and refile it, thanks you. You're patiently waiting, but I have to read first. All right, 1, 2, this gives you guys some reading material. Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on February 28th, 2024, at 6:30 PM in Room 320 of the Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass. 02571, to consider petition number 6-24 for a special permit and variance from the requirements of Article 16 and Article 9, Table 920 and 921, under the Wareham zoning bylaws, to TTR LLC, care of Attorney Gregory Sullivan of 59 Water Street, Hingham Harbor, Mass., seeking to change the current use of motor vehicle service to office space for a general contracting business with an accessory use of warehouse storage of associated materials for the general contracting business located at 3 Toe Road, Wareham, Mass. This appears on Assessors Map 108, Lot 1004AA, in the Industrial Zoning District.
All right, name and address, sir, for the record.
Yes, my name is Charles Morris, and I purchased this property, 3 Toe Road, late last year. I think we passed on it in December.
Can you just give us your address for the record? Your address for the
My
record.
address is Charles Morris, 13 Ledgewood Drive, Dover, Massachusetts.
Okay.
So
All
we
right, go ahead.
purchased the property to move a business that I've owned for about 35 years in Norwood, Mass. That building was purchased by someone 5 years ago, and the owners now need the entire building. And so I looked and found this property at 3 Toe Road that was used as a tow lot and as a repair garage for what appeared to me to be large trucks. And we found it appealing to us because it was close to 195 and 495. The property is purchased personally, and I'm leasing it to another company I own, which is CJM Services. Which we do is run a general contracting firm that specializes in educational facilities, housing authorities, and hospitals, with a heavy emphasis on the educational portion of it. We do mostly public schools throughout the state of Massachusetts. We currently have schools we're working on from Pittsfield, Mass, all the way down to here in the southern eastern part of the state.
Excuse me one second. Anthony?
John,
Johnny, can you shut that door? Do you mind? Sorry, I keep forgetting. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Fine.
it's distracting.
When we purchased the property, I didn't realize at that time that this was going to be considered a change of use. I thought it was an industrial building. What we were going to do was clean it up and be, my opinion, a lot better use than what it was being used for at the time. Because most of our work, actually, all of our work is off-site. We'll use the property for about probably 1,400 square feet of offices. There'll be a receptionist, there'll be my office, bookkeeper's office, and my brother's office. So it'll be about 1,400, maybe a little bit more. And then the rest will be used for material storage, fabrication, equipment, and some vehicle repairs, but only taking care of equipment we own. So we don't do anything outside of that. We applied for a permit, and the permit was denied because this was considered a change of use for two reasons. One was that we were now using it for a general contracting company, and that was not included in the zoning laws of the town, as I've learned. And the second was for the number of parking spaces that we need on the site. There's really no parking spaces lined out currently. So I hired an engineering firm, Outback Engineering, and they told us that one space per 250 square feet, and for the office area, one space for every 1,000 square feet. When you do that, we have 25% office. That would come up to 6.03 spaces or 7 spaces. Warehouse will need additional 5. We are putting 37 spaces in there with 2 handicap spaces, and the rest will be just regular. All the paving, everything is there. All we really have, we'll seal coat it, and then we'll line it. We're not adding any asphalt or anything. It's all there. So I've never done this before, but so we're looking for the use, change in use authorization, and also to look at the parking spaces and make sure that everybody's comfortable with the parking spaces. We can easily make any changes. There's a lot of area there to parking.
Okay, very well. Did you open a 53G account
Say
for
that
the
again?
site plan? Did you open a
Yes, I did. I
Yeah.
don't have it with me, but we filed it.
Okay, and does Alan Major have the plan?
Wait a minute, he may not know what a 53G,
One second.
We're only before you for a special permit and variance, not a site plan review.
Okay. Oh, I see. Paul, it's no site plan required for that?
Yes, it's right on the letter.
It's on the letter, yeah, that's what I saw. See, because you change on the use, a site plan be required. So,
Well,
because,
we did a site plan, we've submitted it, but we can
right,
just,
that, we have a procedure for the site plan, we have a firm that overseen what you did.
okay?
So now we changing it to retail. Back when the garage was there, that was what, 20, 30 years ago. I forgot how long AJ and I was there. We have different bylaws now with landscape and lighting, parking, all these things. So these things goes to one of our firms that we hire, like independent firm that the town hires and get their opinion. And they go over the plans and consult us because We're not engineers, we don't know. They study it and get back to us. All right, so what you gotta do, you gotta,
Did you mention retail?
no, like, not retail. Anytime we change the use to retail, office,
Oh, okay.
it
You didn't
used to
mean
be a
high-
garage. I mean,
Just that change.
and it's a change of use. Believe it or not, over there, you could do an adult entertainment, so it's a change of use. You change everything too, the pocket. That's why it's a change of use. And so you have to go through the process, whether you're doing restaurant or adult entertainment, office like you are, and construction company, or so. The only thing we didn't need to be changed if there's the same business goes in there, same exact way used to be there, but apparently you're not. So that would entitle that you would need to go open a 53G account. What?
We didn't.
You didn't?
We haven't yet. We haven't discussed.
Right, and you gotta tell Alpha Engineer, Outback Engineer, that you need a full site plan review.
They did that. I think I have all that.
Where's the plans? Where's the studies? Did they do test pits? Did they check the drainage? Where's the plan for the landscaping? Where's the plan for lighting?
Do any landscaping?
Right, well, that's a part of the site plan. They know what to do. You can't tell them they have to comply with the current bylaws.
All right.
All right, I see the commissioner's letter, because your storage area gonna be 40%, more than 40% than the office.
No, the office space will be 25%,
Right.
which will be 1,000, it won't even be this much, it's gonna be
Right, but
1,400.
your storage area, 63% of the building.
Where the area that will be used in the back for warehouse, for repairs, fabrication, will be 75%.
Right, so if it exceeds 40%, you will require a variance from us, which is, I don't feel, do you guys understand that? If you have an office and storage, the storage cannot exceed 40%. Correct me if I'm wrong, Paul.
You're correct.
So the storage area cannot exceed, so let's make it easy. If it's 1,000 square feet building, you have you're a plumbing or electrician company. If your storage in the back more than 400 square feet, you require a variance.
So why can't he have this occupancy as storage and then just have offices at 25%?
He has, because he put his storage in the back. He stores
No,
his.
I know, but I'm saying swap it and make the primary use the storage, and then only 40% would be less than 40% would be the office space.
No, he wants more than 40% of storage because he stores doors, windows.
Understand what I'm saying?
No,
What's the total size of the building? 65?
No, 6,000.
6,000.
6,000.
You're not
And
getting
you
what
got
I'm saying.
1,400 square feet of office?
For a little more, about, let's call it 1,450, I think is what it comes out to exactly.
Does the Commissioner, do you understand what I'm saying?
Problem is, we don't have a use for storage in town. We have storage facilities. This is a metal steel building that you would assume that you could just store equipment in. There's no use allowing that.
Storage is not allowed in town.
It's
You need
not
a
allowed.
variance. Just like you guys give a variance, the
Yeah.
board gave a variance next to Noria for that storage facility. Storage not allowed in Wareham. But if you are a contractor, plaster contractor, let's say you're a plaster contractor, and you have a building 1,000 square feet, you only are allowed for the building 400 square feet to store your sheet rock and your bags and all that stuff and your beads and all that. Only 400 square feet out of the 1,000, otherwise you need a variance. So you can do 400 storage, 600 office, correct, Commissioner?
Correct.
You understand what I'm saying?
Well, I understand the percentages, I just didn't realize you
That's the
couldn't swap
bylaw.
it.
We're not gonna argue the bylaw. That's how the bylaw's written. We could change it, but that's
We
not
can-
the time to change it.
The accessory use can only be 40% of the principal use.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
when
I'm clear
When
on
the
it.
applicant approached me, he said he was going to open up a general contracting business. His headquarters there, he have a conference room, et cetera, et cetera. So his square footage has changed since what I have written this letter, and I recommended to him to office space is allowed, such a principal use, seek a variance, which I assume the board would be very willing to grant. The 40% is very tight, it should be a little bit higher, but, and then we had the site plan review.
Correct.
Correct.
All right, so that's where we are. I believe the board's okay with the variance. We'll grant you a variance. We feel it's a hardship for the building. The building has a hardship as it stands to get a variance. And then the other thing, on a site plan, it has to go through the process.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That being said, do you guys want to get the variance out of the way, or we just do one-shot deal?
And the variance is for?
The warehouse part to be 63%, approximately 63%.
Okay, just the percentage of the building that is where.
Right.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that, if you want to.
No, we just leave it. We okay with it.
What's the benefit?
No, we okay with it. We do it all at once.
Okay.
Before we go forward further, anyone in the public want to speak in favor of this matter? Yes.
I think the applicant should have a floor plan reflecting exactly what's going to be built in that building, so you can vote on this, so it's
That's
changing.
the site plan. That's gonna come with the site plan. That's what.
Okay, I just want to make sure that the applicant is aware of that.
We will explain it more.
What you submit for a floor plan is what they're going to give the variance for, and that's what your building permit is going to be based on.
Okay.
So it's gonna be part of your site plan review. So you gotta give us plan, this is the bathroom, this is the office, this is the partition wall,
I can go
this is,
ahead.
you know what I'm saying?
I do.
And you definitely gonna get in touch with Paul,
Outback.
Babino, and the Outback engineer,
Outback, I'll call
and get
him.
going, tell them full site plan review they want.
Okay.
They could discuss with the commissioner, and for Mr. Buckland gonna be, are you gonna consult with us still?
Yeah, I'll consult as well.
Yeah, he's gonna still be working with the town here there, but he has an assistant, can answer question.
Okay.
You could see Sonia, she could answer questions, but we have procedure, Outback aware of this. I've seen them before us here, they know what to do.
I believe I was told earlier today that on Monday, Mr. Buckland will be a consultant.
You go even better. And he'll be a star in the paper.
So do we have an existing violation? Is there any?
There was a cease and desist on the door. I went by today.
There's a cease and
I left
desist
it.
on it? There is a current
Yeah,
cease,
because they were operating without a permit.
and the permit, is it the operating without a,
You need
'Cause there's a
change
change
in
of
use.
use.
You
A
need
special-
the whole thing.
they need the special permit? So until this board makes a decision, the building sits there idle? Is that the situation?
Unfortunately, that's the problem.
Okay.
I mean, wish we could do, I mean, you've seen that gentleman before you with the garage. You know, I don't mean to say like you didn't do your homework prior, but there's procedures. Every town you go to, you can't just go and change the use and just go open it. It just doesn't work that way. There's different circulation, different criteria, different public safety, different rules and regulation, fire circulation.
I
So
guess-
all these things come into place. We can't just, the town can just hand you a permit and something happens, they'll be like, for instance, say you go, like I said, it's allowed use at an adult entertainment. Say we give it to you without a site plan, and you go open and there's a fire and people get killed. They say, how did they give them this permit? So this is why these rules apply for a site plan.
Okay.
So that we don't like pick on people. This is the rule. These are the rules. Go ahead, Jimmy, what did you ask him?
So my question is, he can't use the site to run his business. He can't operate the offices right now because it would require a change of use. Can he park his trucks there?
Yeah, he could park outside. I don't see why not.
So
Nobody's gonna
he's
stop
got to,
him.
he's got to,
Is that the building inspector's call because he put the cease and desist?
I'm asking, I'm just,
If he parks outside, just like the gentleman with the cars parking outside, nobody's gonna bother him. But inside the building, if something happens, the commissioner is liable. He can't let you use that building for what you want unless you wanna use it a towing company like it used to be. But parking outside, I don't see a problem. Unless the fire department go there and say, hey, listen, you got cars on top of each other, this is no good.
so they can telecommute from their home offices and run their business, park the trucks there.
Well, there is a trailer there's a business trailer that they have installed that's a temporary trailer, so they can be
Job
doing
trailer.
business. Yeah, so the inside the building, no, but I mean,
Do you need a permit for a job trailer?
Of course you do.
Yes. I think this is something that I should be, take care of with the applicant.
You
What
can
we're
work it out.
discussing, it already
Excellent.
has been, and I'd rather not discuss it.
Okay, that's,
Excellent.
that's,
fine, enough said.
You know? But, so outside you could park your trucks.
Okay.
In a safe way, if something happens, the fire truck could access.
sorry, I asked.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I do. I do.
And it seems that you have a plenty, I know that site is huge. You could park a lot of trucks safely so the fire department can
Right.
access.
Yeah, it's a big site.
Right. So we go back to the public. Anyone in favor? I hear none. Anyone against this matter? I hear none. So that being said, does the board want to add anything before we continue this matter?
Oh, I think we've learned enough about it, and we need to
The question
move it
is,
on.
can he have his site plan ready for the 13th, or do we need to bring him back on the 28th?
Well, can
I'm gonna give you a month because you're gonna have time.
Well, I think we can have it ready for the 13th.
Okay.
I'll call them tomorrow. And the other drawing that the building commissioner's looking for, I already have an architectural firm that does a lot of schools with us, has already been working to draw that. So I believe I can get both of those drawings ready for you. Obviously, time is also awful important to me. Trying to get this behind me before the school season starts, which is coming right up behind us. So if we could do it for the 13th, I'll be on this tomorrow to try to push
Right,
it.
and if anything by the 13th you're not ready, we could push you until 28th, no problem. But there's a lot of work involved, so you call Alpha tomorrow, Outback tomorrow. Lot of work for that. The site plan is a lot of work. They might need some test pits there, I don't know what they need, but. Okay, that being said, can we get a motion to continue?
So move to continue to March 13th.
I have a motion to continue 6/24 till March 13. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Rich, all in favor, say aye. Troy? Aye. Veronica?
Aye.
Jimmy?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
Nazi, myself, aye. So, we'll see you on the 13th.
Thank you very
You're
much.
very welcome. Okay, we're gonna go to other business. We need a motion for the selectmen to let us speak to town council.
For two cases, right?
For two.
McGowan and O'Liam?
Yeah,
So, okay, let's do the vote first, but I do have a question about the procedure to vote at the end. Yeah, has that been established that it's at the end, or are we just kind of figuring out when the best time would be to vote on that?
anytime, but the best, so we don't have all the people waiting.
Well, because I was thinking about, like, now, I did write a note for two of the hearings that we were supposed to vote on, but then I have to remember, and I'm like, oh, which one was that? Oh, yeah, and I'm trying to get the to make sure and have it fresh. Does it make sense to, and then the other thing is, what if we don't agree, and then they're thinking that council's gonna review, and then council doesn't review, and then they come back? So should the
If we
applicant
don't
know?
agree, I guess the town has to face the consequences.
No, but I'm saying, in terms of when we vote on it, should the applicant know the outcome of the vote for whether or not town council is, no?
Veronica's saying,
I understand, maybe we say no, and if we say no, we kick ourselves in the butt, and the town might get sued. Either we take responsibility or we don't. That's all, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm just
You guys wanna say
saying,
no,
that's
take
just-
the responsibility, don't go see council, that's
I think
fine.
on her end, it's just good housekeeping, if we were done
I
with it with
understand.
that. I mean, because I wrote the things down here on business, what we had to do, and then what happens, we get talking, we go by it, and we don't vote on it, we forget about it, that's the only thing.
Well, I took
It's just
notes, you
easy.
took notes,
Yeah.
I'm sure. No, she wanted to let the applicant know we're sure gonna see the town
Yes, you
council,
did,
that's
but
what
I
she.
also agree, it's housekeeping too, just keep, if you
Yeah.
can keep everything,
That's the only reason why I said it, was housekeeping purposes, but the applicant does also play a part, but.
Well, let's get a motion to see town council.
So-
Motion for the selectmen to allow us to see town. Now, who prints that letter for us, the request, you do?
Yeah, I'll do that tomorrow morning.
Just a couple of words, say we.
make it your last official duty as the town planner.
It'll be for you, yes, right.
Or you can wait till Monday and make it be your first official duty as a consultant.
I like that much better.
So I make a motion that we request the selectmen's authorization to seek town council's opinion on matters relating to both 386 Main Street and Joshua Deolum, I forget which one, what's
So
the
it's
address?
21?
23
4523
and
and
2123.
2123.
Okay, we have a motion by Jim.
Second,
Second by Rich. All in favor, say aye.
are we doing both of them together?
Yeah,
Okay.
One letter.
one letter.
Okay, sounds
Troy?
good to me.
Veronica,
Aye.
Jimmy,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
and myself, Nazir, aye.
So that
Okay, that
passes
go-
because it's unanimous, right?
Right. Going back to subject, please don't discuss that Carla or repair on that matter. I think we should discuss that parking spaces for garages. How we gonna approach it?
I had, as you were talking, I had thoughts that we could retain the 5 per bay, per lift, up to X number of bays/lifts, and then after that, the number could reduce. So for the first 3, it's 5 cars. Anything above, any units above 3 only need 2 spaces.
For garages?
So
For the
they,
lifts?
so they got 4 lifts.
No, don't talk about them.
4 bays.
Say we have a 3-bay garage.
Well, no, I'm talking about our bylaw, I'm not
Right.
talking about them.
Right.
Pick another number, 10.
10
They
big.
got 10. Somebody's got 10, they come in front of us for 10. The first 3 require 5 cars. The next 7 only require 2 per lift.
I think, no, the 5 is a good number. We have to address the office issue.
And-
The
yeah.
office issue.
Yeah.
Now, apparently, say, like this, we can't talk about this either. Say you have an office, GG Plaster have an office. It's different than a Nazi Carla office. So we have to see the use of the office, the traffic. Apparently, when you have a garage, whether your office 300 square feet or 5,000 square feet, the amount of customers based on the base, not on the office. But let's say you have a retail office, like you welcome customers. Say you're a contractor, a plumbing contractor, and you will see more people. It's not based on your work; it's based on people coming and going. So the office space different. Or a construction company, you'll have more office. You'll need 1 parking per 250 square feet because you'll need more parking.
What if we went from to 2 bays? I think the problem was is that we were looking at the 2-bay garage and how many it was. So if you went, your first 2 bays, or just back up, your first bay is 5, your second bay could be, add 3, so you're at 8. And then if you went, I mean, because like your people, as far as office, when it goes to the office spot, you're not gonna have an office for each one of those bays down the thing. So that's why
Correct.
he's saying we address the office spot. So I'm just looking at, somehow can we, the more you have, can we knock it down? I mean, how do we come up with a formula for it? Would be our homework to try and figure out what we need to
I think the
do.
formula of bays, again.
Because we're in
5
trouble
per
right now,
car.
because this is ridiculous. I mean.
Right, we need a formula for office space for garages,
So-
only for garage and service. I would say the bylaw, the way it stands for regular business, it works good, 250 per office, and this works good. But if it's a garage, repair,
So that,
body shop,
that was the question that I have. So when you did your figuring, when you come up with the, what is it, 1 per 250?
right?
So does that include, that doesn't include the garage area, the bays, right? Because they've already been taken care of with the, this is how many you need per bay. So if there are only 4 and it's 10,000, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
He said they needed 44 at that
No,
location.
don't,
But-
talk- don't
I'm not
discuss
gonna
this
talk
now.
about that.
Not that- Make a separate.
So I'm
example.
saying, like, if, you know what I'm asking? if you have a 10,000 square foot building, say, and you have 5 bays, but the 5 bays take up 8,000 square feet, you have 25 parking that you need, but then you don't also include the size of the building and say you need additional for the size, right? You're just looking at the
Saying it's
office
either
space,
or.
right?
Either you use the
Yes.
bay formula.
Is that how you figure it currently? Because I don't really know.
The problem I had, I just heard this argument, like I said, during the meeting. I'll try not to talk about that. But when you submit a plan, every area has to be labeled, which it is in here. So he has, again, we can't talk about, you have a service area bay labeled at 2,000 square feet. But he has 4 bays in it, so that is, on our parking is 20 spots. But how do you have a storage room and an office and a break room and a service area and a waiting area? Not talking about on Cranberry Highway, but how do you call all that related to the service bay area, which is labeled on the plan? So it's going to be a big conflict between the building permits and zoning. So if Mr. Madden wants to call this one office of 560, the whole rest of this plan should be labeled service area. I mean, service bay area.
So it's the office-
Commissioner, we're going off, you're talking too much about this matter.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
So,
I think what she's getting at is, so if we can put some kind of a square footage on the bays.
No,
I mean,
no.
on the size of the building, like, say, if you've got a two-car, 2 lifts, what's the size of that building? So you take that, you say, okay, you're at 3,000 square feet. But if you go to bigger, then you can knock down your parking, because you have more area in it. Our idea with that was to keep these small repair guys from having 2 bays and throwing up all the way down the road.
Correct.
But we've created a problem now, so we need to
Even
go
if you
back and
have
do
a
homework and figure out some way of coming up with some kind of a relative way of not keep adding that 5 on top of 5
Right,
on
but
top.
even if you have a garage with 5 lifts, for example, go to Master Muffler, she's right. He's got more than 25 cars all the time, so 5 cars per bay or lift.
He's got an agreement with other people on their other lots. It's not like he's encroaching,
No,
parking down the road.
we're not condemning again, we're just making an example. So 5 cars per bay or per lift, this is a great idea, to keep it 5. The question we talking about, if say a garage with 5 bays, and they have an office, 250 square feet, our bylaw says, okay, 1 car for the office.
Right.
But what happen if they have an office, 3,000 square feet? It just, if, let's say they want a big office, do we say, oh, 3,000 square feet, now you need another 12 cars? This is the question we need to ask. And I guess this only applies pretty much to garages, because other businesses, you might need it, because you have people coming and going. Let's say you're a contractor, you have people always coming to the shop, always coming to the office and stuff, so you need the space if you're a contractor. Like a contractor like me, say I have a base, I fix my cars, 5 bays, I need 20 cars, 5 bays, 25 cars. And if I have 2,000 square feet, I should have 8 cars, because I probably have an estimator, GC, a supervisor. They park there, people coming and going, so you need the parking, 250.
Parking's like the weather, though. It's unpredictable.
Right,
you know?
but in garage, I think it's steep.
Is there some way you can calculate the number of employees that you have per business? Because that would be how you determine how much is required by that office
Fluctuate,
space.
So when some people go lay off, well, you go recalculate? No, I don't think that's a good idea.
So,
We just have to find a,
so we have a bylaw that says 5 per bay / lift. We have this thing that the town had the wisdom to create called a zoning board of appeals, and they're supposed to exercise judgment.
correct.
So why are we having this discussion?
There you go.
Why don't we just exercise some judgment
We
on a
can.
case-by-case basis?
Excellently,
We could do that.
excellently said.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You could do this, but sometimes if you give a gentleman or a lady a variance, And if you give them variance and they get challenged, they lose that variance. I mean, most likely, I mean, one out of 1,000, but you jeopardizing to lose that variance.
If we
as well.
exercise poor judgment and somebody challenges it, then
So what we've done is.
so be it.
So what we've done tonight is learn that we need to use our judgment when it
Yeah,
comes
I
to
think,
that.
I
so-
think judge,
That's what
I
we're
think,
supposed to do,
Well-
use your judgment.
Well, and I think we did a good job talking this out and getting to that point.
Okay, very good.
and
So,
when that one that created this whole conversation comes back in front of us, I think we can look at it and exercise
all right,
judgment.
we'll leave it
I
at
think you
here.
should use some criteria, though. That's because you'll get yourself into trouble with.
Well, we're
Well, we
always,
try to refine it, the more we're gonna paint ourselves in a corner, and the more we're gonna create more problems.
well, we're always gonna have somebody upset, and we're always gonna have somebody happy, no
Yes,
matter
sir.
what we do.
Right.
Thomas Jefferson said you
What
can
do-
only govern the people to the point at which they will be governed.
Paul, what do you want to say?
Building plan has to somewhat marry how I figure out the parking, that's all.
So
Right,
maybe
make
that's
it
something
easier
that
for
we have
him.
to work on, is the language of
Yeah.
plans perhaps with, that
I
are
think
coming
Jim's
before you.
idea, a very good idea. We
I
judge
think that's the
a-
best
as we
way out
go.
of it, yeah.
We use our judgment, our fair judgment, and we make a call. That's it.
And then as we go down the road, every time it gets to that point, we use that same judgment, I guess, as,
Right, exactly.
until all our
But
members.
apparently, if somebody has 2,000 square feet used for a garage, eventually, let's say they cut it in half, do a retail or something, apparently this gonna change the whole configuration. That
So we're
would
gonna
be the-
use floor area ratio when it comes to it.
So did we,
It's we'll be going FAR for the amount of garage space.
I thought it was interesting about what he was talking about with how we never, the for sale side of things, and I always go back to that one project that we did in East Wareham that we approved, and I hate it. Every time I drive by it, they have these gigantic vehicles, you know, on the corner going on to,
Oh,
onto Ave.
gateway garage,
Yeah,
gateway.
whatever. It used to be just an
Buzzard
oil
Way.
change, it was fine, it was good.
Buzzard's Way.
Buzzard's Way garage.
Buzz's Way, yeah. That
Live
gets
and
me
learn.
every time. I hate driving by that, and I kick myself every time. Why did we say yes? Because it looks terrible.
I don't think the selectmen gave him the license. They dropped the number of
Well,
cars.
We
That whole
approved,
situation, that whole neck of the woods over there with that, the turnarounds and everything that the state did also created kind of a havoc over there.
but I felt like from that, with those cars, was no real guidance in our bylaws to put a limit on how many cars can be on a lot and can be for sale, and how many
Selectmen
customers.
can dictate it every year.
Has that changed? Is there a limit?
I don't
Because there
think-
wasn't at the time.
No, there was. Of course there was.
No, there was not, 100%, because I remember Brian sitting here go, well, you know, it was kind of like arbitrary, how many did you guys want on there? I mean, we can do this, and it was kind of like,
gotta
well,
be able
I
to
need some
follow up.
guidance.
Member that's not a member.
You gotta be
There
able
wasn't.
to fit them. What do you mean, no?
No, there wasn't.
We went to every car in my car lot, to every car, but we took in consideration the fire department, everybody.
Can we, are we gonna
Believe me, I
continue?
would've liked 300 cars.
Are we
I
gonna
don't think we are,
continue
but we
or
should,
can we adjourn?
we should adjourn, we should
All
adjourn.
right. Can we get a motion to adjourn, somebody?
Make a motion
Yeah,
to
I'll make-
adjourn.
yeah.
We have a motion by Rich, do you have a second?
Second,
Second by Veronica, all in favor, say aye. Troy? Aye. Veronica?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Nazir, we adjourn.